we are recording, so
Whoa.
we can start
Oh,
at any
hi.
time. I just figured I'd start it and do levels, and I think we look pretty good. So I think we can
Levels.
roll. We actually, it's working.
Hey.
Good, hi. Good. We're not.
Exactly. We're
Okay,
not
cool.
frozen in time.
Cool.
So let's start. Cecile,
Hi.
how do you say your last name?
I don't know.
That's
I don't know myself, so you can butcher it as much as you
All
want.
right.
I would say Cubilo.
Cubilo?
It's
Cubilo.
Spanish, but throughout the generations, they cut one L.
Ah,
Apparently, there's no one L in Spanish. It's usually Cubillo.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
And they cut one L. So now no one knows how to pronounce it.
I see.
Even Spanish people.
Hey, I have
so-
a question about the 2L thing.
Yeah.
Why is it Amarillo, Texas?
Good question.
It should be
Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Yes.
Amarillo. You got to roll the R.
You
bro.
gotta-
Amarillo. Amarillo. That
Yeah,
just sounds
Amarillo.
sounds so different than a weird looking animal, though.
Yeah.
Amarillo.
True.
Did you hit that Amarillo? on the roll?
Amarillo.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't roll their R's.
It's talent.
True.
Can you roll
Pure
your
talent.
R's,
Oh, yeah.
Michael? Roll your R. Ooh, nice. Good job. Good job. All right.
But can you do?
No,
It's a different
throat. I cannot.
That's almost a growl.
Yeah.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
Impressive.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, I'm a podcast version, so version.
Oh,
Virgin. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
So-
Now, do you listen to podcasts?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
What's your favorite? Which one do you listen to?
What's the latest? Actually, Vicky Vox. I'm waiting for that one, but Vicky Vox is one of the drag queens that I know that is in my movie. We'll talk about that later.
Perfect.
She's coming out with one, so I cannot wait to
Cool.
listen
Cool.
to that.
And is it about the
she's
movie?
Super. No, it shouldn't be.
Okay.
Better not be. No, it shouldn't be. It's about their world, and she's probably one of the most fun human beings to be around. So I cannot wait to see what she does.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have an itinerary for you. We're going to talk about because we're saving one thing for last because Michael and I are both really fascinated by it.
Yeah.
So, but we'll start with producing.
Okay.
And that's one of the things you do. Obviously, you produced a film that I watched, Breaking and Exiting. It's the one that Michael
That's
worked
how we
on
met.
with Peter
Yes.
Facinelli.
Yep.
And you also star in that. Yeah, you have a little role there
Teeny.
in the supermarket parking lot,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So, how did you get into producing?
Well, so I got into it. Actually, it was probably 8 years ago when I started. I came here originally to act, but I realized very quickly that, I came to act and also to make movies.
Right.
But the best way to act to me is to know everything else around it.
Sure.
That's always been an interest of
Smart.
mine. Yeah. And so I, did acting classes and stuff. And I was like, this is not enough. It's never going to be enough for me. I just need to have a seat at the table at some point and make, creative decisions.
Right.
So I was like, I need to learn about everything. So I started, my first thing was a short film that I wrote about against child abuse, just to bring awareness.
Yeah.
And so I wrote that, and then I was like, what am I going to do now?
What are you gonna do with it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But getting into the U.S., I couldn't afford film school at all.
Okay. It's
Now,
expensive.
let's-
It's not cheap.
Yeah, let's throw this in there. Where are you from?
France,
Okay.
originally. Yes.
The,
And when did you-
accent is. I mean, we had.
It's almost
Sasha.
gone. We were giving Sasha a bunch of grief. And he goes,
Sasha.
I know, I can't get rid of it.
Sasha, yes.
He never
it
will.
is cute. No, he never.
Oh,
No, but
he
he shouldn't. He
shouldn't.
shouldn't. He shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course not.
No.
It's,
When did you get here?
I got here, I think, almost 12 years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's been a while.
Okay.
But I lost the accent. I mean, I had the accent down before the actual English words, which was really weird.
Wow.
You had the English accent down before you actually had broadened your English, the English
yeah,
language.
I didn't, because I didn't speak English at all when I got here. I thought I had good grades in school, and I got to the airport, and I was like, oh. No, the guy's like, all I could hear was wow, 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 wow. I'm like, okay. So I cried a bunch of times. But no, it's weird because I mimic, I get, that's what I do. Musical ear, if you call that. Whatever.
Right.
And I remember one time we were at dinner with a bunch of French people that I knew, with American people, all mingling, and I didn't know them. And a guy was standing in front of me, and he was talking to his friend, and I think he dropped his fork or his napkin, one of the two, I can't remember. And then he looked at me, he's like, oh, wah, 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 napkin. or fork. I don't remember which one it was. And then I looked back and said, I don't understand. What is a napkin? With the American accent. The guy looked at me, he's like,
That's right.
you know.
Yeah.
Are you? So that was difficult because
Yeah.
most people wouldn't necessarily get the fact that I was foreign. So I would ask stupid questions, feel very stupid for
Right.
a while. I was years, actually.
That's got to be a weird feeling, though, right?
Saying something,
Dude.
speaking something
Being
and
able
not
to
knowing what it
speak
means.
but not understand it.
There's
Yeah.
talent in there somewhere.
There is.
Rough. It's rough. I would not do that again.
So when did you start to really grasp the language? I mean, how long
Took
did
me
it
a few
take you?
years.
A few years. Now, were you taking classes? Were you just absorbing it?
No, I was just absorbing it. I think the most difficult part for me was to lose, because when you move somewhere with a different culture and stuff, and especially different language, you lose who you are completely.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was funny in French. I like jokes. I crack jokes. I'm like, I like to talk. I like to, interact with people.
That's
and then you
funny.
get here and you're like, not a peep for years because you don't understand them. They don't understand you.
Yeah.
They're looking at you like if you were 3. It's just awful. You can't function in the world. So you're
That's
just
crazy.
staying there and then watching and listening and trying to absorb and asking. And when you speak, it's just to ask a dumb question.
Right.
What's that? How do you call that?
What's-
How do you call it?
Yeah.
It's like weird ways, and then I got used to saying stuff. Is how do you call it? So, yeah, it's just
That's
it's been a rough path. But then after a few years, you start.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive. I mean,
Is that point when you started to like grasp the acting and the that I want to be more involved with all aspects, is when you got more comfortable with the
Yes.
language?
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to, but the few years of, and people were like, so you're here to act and you don't speak English. What is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't fucking know. Don't ask me. I don't know why I'm not staying in France where I could do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Because speaking is,
Yeah.
acting is difficult. Speaking was an issue already. So we got, bigger problems.
well, and then
But-
because acting, obviously, if you're gonna do it with the English language, it requires you to know it, obviously,
Yeah.
and then to attach emotion to those words.
Oh, no
and
shit,
all of
man.
that.
Yeah.
So, that would be one of those questions. Really, you're gonna act and you don't know the language?
Oh,
Kleenex.
yeah. No, that was challenging. I was doing workshops,
amazing.
taking
It's
workshops
impressive.
with casting directors, and my mission walking in was not to do a good job at acting, because not to sound cocky, but to me, I got it. I feel comfortable doing it. That's that's my happy place. So I don't have a problem acting and putting emotions on my things, but speaking.
Yeah, right.
And my one mission was to walk in the room and be like, if you hear 1 ounce of an accent, I completely failed.
Oh, wow.
I put so much pressure on myself
Wow.
every time, and I would walk in, sound as American as I could. And sometimes, most of the time, they wouldn't catch it. Sometimes they'd be like,
There's something there.
where are
you
you
from New York?
Yeah, the East Coast. I
Yeah.
got the East Coast a lot because I was over trying, I guess. And then I got second nature, I guess. And I'm like way Easter than Europe. I'm like way
Yeah,
Easter.
way east.
Way
Across the
Easter.
pond, as
yes,
they say.
but no, it was challenging. But
So were you acting in France?
yeah,
So you had
theater
already
mainly.
theater. Okay.
Yeah, because it's, if I wanted to have a career, I would have had to move to Paris, which I did not want to do.
Why?
Expensive living. I don't like the way Paris it's like New York. It's too much for me. It
Very
just moves
busy,
too fast,
frantic,
too
yeah.
busy. And I just didn't, since I was like this big, I wanted to move to the U.S. I'm infatuated with the language,
Yeah.
everything.
awesome.
Just wanted to come to Hollywood. That's it.
Yeah.
So why go spend 5 years in Paris when I could just come straight here and struggle?
and struggle for a few years.
That's so true,
Just a few
man.
years.
That is so true.
They say it takes 10 years to make something of yourself. No. When you're like me, it takes at least 15.
At least 15.
Because there's 5, it's like, I don't...
Yeah.
But if you knew the language, maybe it would be 10.
Oh, yeah,
because
absolutely.
The early
No, it
part
is.
of that is learning how to acclimate.
She came behind
Oh,
the
yeah.
8-ball.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She came behind
But
the 8-ball.
that's what I think makes it even more impressive.
Right.
Right? Because
I
I know
agree. I
Sasha
agree.
didn't Sasha already know a little bit of English before he came out here?
I don't think so.
No, he's
I
the
don't-
same then, huh?
Well, we all do, in a way, because we learn it in school. But first off, it's British English. And second is we learn Brian is in the kitchen. It's funny actually that we're talking about this because my girlfriend just dated somebody. She's from Switzerland, and she just dated somebody named Brian.
Oh.
And we have a
Brian is in the
comedian
kitchen.
in France, Gad Elmaleh, and he's got a one-man show, and he talks about that thing that we all learn in school. The first sentence you learn is, Brian is in the kitchen. We all know what a kitchen is, and we all know that Brian is the most English word you can.
It's
and
pretty
so
American,
Brian
yeah.
is in the kitchen is a big joke. That's pretty much all we learn.
Yeah.
That's all. So you think you got good grades because you spelled it right,
Yeah.
but then you get to the airport and then you cry.
I think it's the same. Right.
And then you cry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's the same with us too. I mean, I've heard that one of the languages that it's important for us to learn in school is like Spanish because there's a lot of Hispanic people in California. So one of the things that I've heard is that I didn't learn Spanish, but one of the things that I heard is that when you learn it, you still can't talk to them.
Yeah.
You really still can't have a regular conversation because there's sort of a street language, right? That's separate from what you learn in school.
Absolutely.
And I think even like when a good writer, let's say, is someone that can actually write the way they speak.
Yeah.
But if you wrote the way you speak, the punctuation would be jacked up. It would all be
It's
a
all
little
phonetics.
weird. Yeah.
It would be all phonetics. It's
Totally.
easier to learn a language. It would be easier to learn a language that way, but
Yeah.
no, they teach you even when you learn. Yeah, it's he is going in there. No one talks like that.
Nobody says that.
So, and then when you have somebody come to like, yo, he's going in there.
Hey, yo, he went
You're
in there.
like, I think I
Yo,
learned
Brian's
that.
in the
but
fucking kitchen.
Yeah. There, bro.
And they don't even put a G at the end of they just say fuck and they don't say fucking.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't
Yeah.
put the
Yeah.
G there. So anyway, so
Yeah.
you came here to act.
Yes.
And so that was the first thing. And then production came along a little after that. So we
Yeah.
probably just started with acting, but
Yeah.
producing
it started,
was born.
but it started very, very slow, 'cause
Yeah.
English and all.
Right.
So, yeah, I started learning, and because I spent months at UCLA Extension,
Which is
I
what?
was sold a dream. It's for foreign people. It's kind of like a night school.
Adult school.
That's not what I was told. But when you're young and stupid and you just want to go to the U.S., you don't really realize who you're signing up with and
Yeah.
the organization that's going to help you get there is going
Right.
to take all your money, but you don't know that. And so they signed me up for English courses at UCLA, and they promised me that I would be able, with the money that I paid them, pretty much to study at UCLA.
Oh, wow.
That's not a thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to film school at UCLA, and then getting here, I'm like, oh, not going to happen. Got it. Okay.
Well, even folks like myself, not going to happen. It's it's very expensive, it's very costly. So
And the UCLA extension programs are cheaper, but still, it was just not going to happen for me. They took all my money, and I didn't have the right level in English to even study.
Right.
In English, it's crazy. I was
yeah.
But so I decided to, you know what, I'm gonna have to learn on my own. So Google became my best friend, and YouTube, and I spent months and months just doing research on how to edit.
Yeah.
I learned how to edit on YouTube.
Yeah.
And so my first short film that I produced was about a subject that, matters. So I cast that little girl called Lacey K. And I'm like, we're just going to do this. And I wrote something without realizing what I was writing. And then when it came down to just actually doing it, I'm like, wait, so I have like $2,000 to make this.
Right.
And I got to have 20 kids and a school. How do we do that? I call Film LA. I'm like, hello, I would love to grab a permit for. She's like, yeah, sure. It's half of my budget just right there, just
Boom.
for one day permit. I'm like, okay, no, not gonna work.
Right.
So then I had to be creative, and I went full on guerrilla style
Yeah.
with 20 kids and 40 parents on set.
Wow.
We started the alarm. The firefighters came. My friend who was lending me the school had to lie his teeth. I mean, it's just, it was the best experience you could learn on it was a nightmare, but we got the shots. We got everything we needed.
That's
and
pretty cool.
It never got, it went to a couple festivals, and actually Little Girl won a little award, which was cool, but it never got
nice.
it further than that because it was the first film. So.
Right. And then
But
you say
still
you
for it to go to
learned
festivals.
editing from YouTube.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the technical aspect of it, or like how to time a scene? How to like the
The technical aspect.
Yeah.
I got, I started on,
Final Cut?
Final Cut, and then 10.
Okay.
And then I realized quickly that it was limited for some reason. I don't know how I got that, but I'm like, oh, okay, no, I'm going to go to Premiere. And so it was a whole different thing. And then I learned that. And once I understood how to do it, then the editing part of it, the timing part of it, I guess it came naturally.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying I was kind of using my guts and trying to just do things. But I got hired on a couple projects to edit on a web series, and I edited a few episodes of that. So I guess it wasn't that bad.
Sure. But as an actress, you would certainly know
Timing and pacing.
And so you'd be able to like put that hat on as the editor and go, oh yeah, boom, boom,
that
bam.
when
Insert hand here, blah blah blah. You know, that kind of.
My favorite one
It's
that
such
I
a cool
did.
art, man.
It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's like a whole different world. My favorite one that I did was when I edited the trailer for that short. That was the most fun. I cracked a music software to make the soundtrack myself because I didn't like what I was getting, and so I just played with buttons. It took me months. And the trailer sucks, but still, it was
You
so
did it.
much fun, and it's experience.
Yeah.
It was my film school. It took me years, but it was my own free film school.
Wow.
So
Well, I love
fun.
that because now. So, have you ever finally gone to school for any of this, or have you just left it behind? Okay, so that's great because
No.
Michael never did
Yeah.
either.
See, that's one of the things that I like to talk about.
Yeah, I
is,
love that.
You know, formal education, or you learn
On your own.
On the street.
hands on, man, and you like you said. You're like, okay, I got to get creative. How in the world do I do this? Well, now there's so much things. Like we have these handheld gimbals
Oh, man.
that are $140 that give you these amazing shots
on your phone,
on your phone.
which also have great cameras now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we're shooting at 4K.
There's no excuse
I
anymore.
know.
There
right.
really isn't.
No
You
limitations.
can be creative with no money at all.
Yeah.
I love the story, and I love hearing about this type of stuff because there's so many people that before they even start, they're talking themselves out of it. You know what I'm saying? Before they even start, they're like, well, I just, blah, blah, whatever their reason is.
Yeah.
And they'll talk themselves out of it. Well, it's proof that you just do it.
Yeah.
Because
Just go for
I
it.
think the first thing people think, and this is the U.S. This is what people think in the United States, and I don't know if it's different in France, but go to school. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's the only
Get an
way.
education. Go to school. Get an
Yeah.
education.
Right, and I'm not saying that it's not a good path because it is, and it has been.
It
a
works for
successful,
some people.
I mean, David Armstrong, I'm sure he would say go to school because when we were talking to him, he didn't go to school in the beginning, and then now he's a teacher.
He's
So-
got a master's.
But
No, it's the right, and it's your parents feel better. It's you need to go to school, and I did go to school, not for what I wanted to do, but I still did. Yeah, I went to school, so everybody was happy, and then
Right.
I felt better about myself because I had a degree.
Right.
Now I'm like, I'm gonna get the fuck out and do what I want anyway, and that has nothing to do with what I studied. I don't even remember it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It's you going. School is one thing, but I've worked with people fresh out of school. They have no fucking idea what they're doing.
That's exactly
most
right.
of them because it's not their fault. You learn theory.
yeah,
But a movie set and how to make a movie, if you haven't done it, if you haven't gotten slapped in the face 20 times over,
Yeah.
you won't know how to do things, how to get a permit, how to deal with these people, what are the mistakes you got it. I fell on my face and I keep every time, every production, new lesson. Shut the fuck up. Okay. Oh, you think you know? Shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time it's a new
Yep.
a new lesson, and every time I have to force myself to be like, you can do this. I'm sweating,
yourself
and I'm
back
like,
up,
you
yeah.
can do this because you don't know. I feel like I don't know anything every time I'm starting a new project,
Right.
and right in the middle of it, I work well under pressure, and like the first film that we did that you worked on, this was a first for all of us.
now which film was that?
Breaking.
Breaking
and
and
Exit.
yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah.
This started it started like nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm super, 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 super grateful for the opportunity. Martine gave me that opportunity. She, one day, she gave me a call because I used to rent a room at Martine's house. That's how I know her.
Okay.
And she saw me doing my little productions, my web series and my short films by myself in my room on my little laptop. And she was like, wow, that's impressive. She was not in the movie business back then. But then she switched and went into production. And one day she calls me and she's like, hey, I have a friend. We have a script and a little bit of money. Where do we start? And I'm like, well, we start here.
Yeah, nice.
And all of us went on that journey without really,
Right.
we hadn't done anything like that remotely. And it did the snowball effect where it was just the three of us with a little bit of money. And then Peter got attached.
Was Jordan the third?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Jordan was the
So
third.
Jordan's
Jordan, she's the writer.
And she started.
Starred.
She
Yeah.
starred in it,
Yeah.
yes. And so she brought the script to Martine because they had worked on something before and said, I want to do this.
Right,
It's my
right.
first, do you want to do it? Martine was like, well, we got a little bit of money and why not?
Mm-hmm.
Just going to call her.
And so
'cause-
that she came to you.
yes, Martine came
help,
to me. Yes.
To help launch it. That is so awesome.
Because, that's, at that level, I don't think you can call anybody who's done
Right.
the million things that I was trying to do and yet kind of succeeding at, but I just, pulling
That's
out of
so
my ass
awesome.
really
Yeah.
just
Yeah, yeah.
doing it. And she knew that, so she called me and we got the ball rolling. Then we lost our director and then that's how Peter got involved. And it became bigger and bigger and bigger
yeah.
without even us realizing it. And I'm like, shit, now we got Peter Facinelli attached. It can't look like crap. It cannot
Right,
look like
right,
crap or
right.
sound like crap.
Yeah.
So I got all my team together, people to help with very little money. And it was an opportunity for all of us, really.
Right.
And we took that baby all the way up to a theatrical
Oh,
release, which is what?
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
Well, I loved that film. I loved it.
did?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
thank you.
really loved it. And I want everybody to know they should check it out. It's Breaking and Exiting. It is available on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So if you're a subscriber to Prime, you can watch it. It's a great film.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool idea too, right? The script. He's
It
breaking
is.
in and
Yeah.
that, I'm
Jordan
not gonna-
wrote that in a week.
Really?
Really?
She's insane.
Oh, and she was great in it too.
She is. She's so dry. She's such a great fucking everything. She's
Yeah.
my work wife.
Oh, that's
That's
nice.
cool.
I love
yeah.
Jordan. Yeah.
And Milo is good in it as well. Milo Gibson.
Milo's fantastic. Yeah. And he's
So-
great to work with.
So I highly recommend that. So that's
Thank
really
you.
interesting, because I say it all the time when we do these. I don't know a lot about film. It's not something that I'm not in the business like the two of you are. So it's interesting to know that it started with so small and it became what it is. And Peter got involved and awesome, so cool. So
Yeah.
cool.
Just
Isn't it really interesting because this just popped in my head with the memories of sitting in this room
I
here
know.
and working on for a solid week. I think we all sat together and brought this
Mixed
thing.
it, yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Is how there's two sides of this story: is how everything aligned and it worked, but then how hard you had to fight to get it to
Oh.
work.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that? It's like they're exact opposites. It wasn't just laid out in front of us.
Oh yeah. No.
Right?
No.
You had to
no.
work your ass
You
off to
did.
get this
We
thing
did.
done,
We did.
but it all aligned perfectly, and it was the idea was written down on paper and then released in a theater.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that
Yeah.
is amazing.
Out of literally, we were sitting in the backyard and we're like, okay, so where do we start? We gotta get a location.
Right.
It's like we didn't know. We didn't know where to start. And when I brought my DP up, because I had worked with that guy Chris, and I brought him up because he had an Alexa, and I'm obsessed with cameras. I'm obsessed with quality work.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm releasing anything.
Right.
That's why most of my work hasn't come out because it doesn't look up to my
So what your standard
standards, which is really high. Too high maybe because I'm a little too hard on myself sometimes. But yeah, there was no way we're gonna release anything that is not quality. And so I brought my DP up, but the price, he didn't even get paid. It was just the price for the camera and the equipment and stuff. It was a little steep in everybody's brain because we're on a very low budget. But for him, like, he did it for free.
Yeah.
It was nothing. And when I brought him up to Jordan and Martine, they're like, oh, no, too much. I'm like, guys, we cannot be doing this on an iPhone. There's no fucking way. And so slowly but surely, we're like, well, and then showed him his work and worked our way to it. And
Yeah.
we're like, oh, okay. I'm like, we're doing this the right way. We're doing it the right way. So, yeah. And then the whole, quality stuff. My sound guy is the best guy on
Yeah.
the fucking planet. I
Yeah.
told him I'm dying next to that guy. He's coming with me. His name is Joe, and he's the best sound guy you can have.
Cool.
You see him walk in a room, he looks like 25 with his hair like this, like, hey, yo, bro. He's like, you wouldn't hire him even if you had a meeting with him. You're like, no, thanks.
Right.
You don't know how to do anything. He's a one-man show. Even you remember, right?
Yeah.
The sound, the quality. He's alone.
Yeah.
We had only one guy. He's mixing. He's doing the boom up. He's
Yeah.
fantastic. He's doing every single one of my projects. I love that guy.
That's awesome.
I love how the connections, and then they just stay together.
Yeah, it's a
really, really
team.
sweet.
Yeah, building a team
It's a team.
And it's hard when you get to produce a lot and then you get to do a lot of projects and spend money. I rely because it's not you do your own project and whoever is attached doesn't matter. To me, it's a teamwork. Everybody matters.
Yeah, right.
If one person is not right, we have one bad apple, screws up the entire project.
Right.
So the crew is, to me, the most important part of the filmmaking, and we don't talk about them enough because every single person is important.
Yeah.
And I'm building a team of people that they trust me, I trust them.
Right.
There's respect. They were getting paid right now.
Yeah.
Better. But yeah, and that's...
Well, there's times when you agree. I mean, even not in the business, but in the business, there's times to like help.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't make my rate this time.
Yeah.
Because I believe in what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that kind of makes this industry magical in that way.
Yeah.
That a lot of people will do you a favor, and then you better show
Fucking
up for
remember.
show
Yeah.
up for someone else too, or them if they
Yeah.
come and cash that
For
that
sure,
favor in.
for sure.
I feel that's the whole thing, that when once getting into the movie industry, some people don't realize that and they get burned right away because taken doesn't work. You gotta it's an exchange of services, and sometimes you're not gonna get paid, but you're creating a relationship. And 3 months, 6 months, 3 years from now, that person's gonna come back and be like, hey, bro, I
Yeah.
remember you.
Yeah.
I remember what you did. Now
Yes.
I'm on a billboard on Sunset.
Right.
Want to work for me? Oh, all of a sudden things turn around, and you never know.
It's awesome, man. I really do. And
Well-
I do like that about this.
Me too.
We told this story. I think we told it on our podcast in between where we didn't have a guest and it was just you and me. Michael,
The
and
most
I,
interesting
the
podcast
best
today.
one. Yeah, it was the best one. That we were,
Yeah, I
Two
bet.
dicks in a room talking.
I bet. Yes. Yes. Who wouldn't want to listen to that
Right.
and watch it?
and our dumb
actually.
personalities. We met years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. I mean, I was in a band. He was a recording engineer, and we lived in the same town. We recorded. I think it was maybe a couple weeks we only spent together.
So music brought you together.
Music brought us
Got it.
together, and because we had a good rapport. Obviously, if I was a dick, I'm sure he wouldn't have ever wanted to work with me again.
Of course.
and
That's
vice
how it works.
and vice versa, right? So it's something to say. You always go through with whatever you have, whatever you're feeling at the moment. So let's say you have someone that wants to do sound for you, and you're like and they just say no. The guy that does your sound, you'll work with him forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was willing to work with you on that one project that
Absolutely.
maybe didn't make any money or is at the very, very beginning.
He didn't. And the last paycheck that I gave him for the film that we're shooting right now, he's so fucking cute. He came to me, he's like, Cecile, I think you made a mistake. That's not what we agreed upon. I'm like, no, bro, you're getting paid more because I love you.
Yeah.
He's like,
That's so
okay.
cool.
Yeah.
See, and that's where I get off.
Yeah.
I get off as I can this time, and you deserve it because I'm saving money anyway. If
Right.
we need to bring somebody else
Yeah.
to do half the job that you're doing, so when you can, and that's
So you never
how
know
it
what
works.
opportunies will come, right?
No,
so
never.
always
Oh,
go
that is
go
the-
with it. Go with it.
that's
'Cause you never know
the
what's going to
biggest.
come.
The biggest thing is
Follow your gut.
well, I like to say get out of your own way often. Like just
Good
move your,
point.
let it
Good point.
just be.
And,
go
and
do it.
also, like, drop the attitude. You don't know
Ah.
shit. You don't know shit. You're not better because you went to film school, or you're not better because, oh no, I need
Say
to
it
get paid
again.
this much and this
Yeah.
much because I'm the shit. No,
Yeah.
you're not. None of us are.
Right.
None of us are.
Even when you get to a certain level, there's still stuff to learn and people to meet and
Yeah.
and prove. You got to prove yourself more and more and more and more. It's
Well, you said
never stops.
You said it. Every project you go into, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
what that says is you're also expanding the acreage of who you are, and you're trying something completely different
Yeah. Mhm.
every single time. So, Breaking and Exiting, was that your first really big production?
yeah, it was my first feature.
Now, when you were making this, were you also acting at the same time?
I was, yeah. It's, well, in the film very quickly.
Right,
Which
right.
was, I'm like, oh, I got what now? I got to put makeup on? Okay, cool. That was a weird day. But yes, I was still pursuing that.
Yeah, right.
But getting auditions has been, funny thing, my booking ratio for last year is 100%.
Oh, wow.
You've never heard that,
Wow,
right? 2
that's
auditions, 2 bookings.
Oh,
Wow.
2 TV stuff, 2 bookings. I'm like, where are my auditions? Where are they? I can't get out. It's just, I guess I don't have the cookie cutter co-star look that they're looking for, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
Bullshit.
I can't get an agent for the life of me. Cannot get a meeting. So, whatever. I'm just taking, right?
That's
I'm like, can you just sit down? Can we sit down? Can you talk? I'm so happy to be here that people want to talk to me. I'm like, thank you.
yes.
For giving me the time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, but I guess it's LA. The market, we're not in Atlanta or somewhere else where it's
Right.
smaller. So it's difficult. So I'm just doing my thing, taking my time
Yeah.
and giving myself opportunities that are not given to me. And once I get to a certain level of like, oh, maybe we should take a look, eventually I'll get an agent. That's all. That's how it works. And then once you get the right agent who can push you, then you get auditions and then you get opportunities. Until then, I'm just going to have to continue
Hustle.
Keep doing what you're
hustling.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you want to move on to the thing, the really fun thing to talk about? Because obviously you have to make a living in this industry, and
You
I think
do.
I'm impressed by IMDb, right? Is that the measure of it, IMDb? But it's fun to look at it, right? To go, oh, look at all these credits,
Yeah.
and you have a lot of them, by the way. Most of them, though, are as a stunt driver.
Mm-hmm.
Which-
dun 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 dun.
All right, so Michael.
Cecile the stunt driver.
Michael knows the guests, right?
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of one, we had a comedian come in that I was familiar with, but
You only bring friends. That's cool.
pretty much so far, yeah.
So
Michael's
far.
friend.
That's cool.
So I do a little bit of let me see, let me find
Research?
out. Yeah, a little research. So I looked at some of your reels, right? And the most impressive one was all the driving reels, the skidding into place reel, right? I'm like, what in the hell? So if you come out here, you're learning English, you want to be an actress, somehow you get into production. Where does stunt driving come into the mix? And do you drive on the other side of the road?
No
there?
shit.
Right?
This is my Tom Cruise moment where in Days of Thunder he goes, I don't know, man. They just put me in the car and I could drive.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. Came like that. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, seriously, do they? And first, do you in France drive on the other side of the road?
No.
Okay, so
It's in England.
only England.
It's in England,
Okay.
yeah.
And Australia. I think Australia is the same.
Yes,
So, yeah.
but no, in France we're on the right side.
Perfect. So that was
But the other side of the car.
So that wasn't a
we
language
drive
you had to
much
learn.
better. Just saying.
Apparently,
LA's lame.
apparently.
Yeah, but that's a different topic. No, that came in a weird way. First of all, I might be born with the wrong sex. I might be a dude I don't, because I like things that are not very feminine.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been into cars and motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I would do stupid shit. My first car was a Citroën AX, little tiny things and with like tires this big. And I would do stupid stuff on the parking lot. Not on the street. I'm not.
Right.
But so I've always liked it. And same thing with motorcycles. But I think it was what got me to... my agent, my commercial agent at the time, called me and said, hey, you put stick shift on your resume as a special skill. Can you do like a 360 and stop on your mark? No, bro. That's a stunt. That's
Right.
no. Stick shift does not mean you know how to. What the fuck? So I was like, no, I can't do that. He's like, oh, that sucks because they were interested in you. I'm like, what? Never mind. And then I hang up and I'm like,
Maybe, just
Hang on.
maybe.
why have I not, first of all, ever looked into this? And second, where would I look? I started Googling stunt driving schools. And poof, a couple of them popped up. I'm like, oh, there is such a thing. Because I never thought there would be a school for that.
Right.
You're just a dumbass who's doing burnouts at the light. But,
Right,
there's-
yeah.
It's cool. I'm like, wow, somewhere I can do this legally for a lot of money. I'm like, oh, okay. So I look at the prices. It's like, okay, no, can't do.
Right.
But there's one in Camarillo and another one in Willow Springs. And I get a little bit obsessed with that. And I'm like, okay. And when I get something in there,
Yeah.
That's it.
you're done. It might take me 3 years, but I'm fucking doing it.
Right.
And so I was like, how can I figure this out?
Yeah.
And my boyfriend, sweet of him, knew that I was so obsessed. He's like, I got to help her out. So for my birthday, offered me 1 day.
Oh, wow.
But the course was 3 days. And I'm like, what am I going to do in 1 day? I can't just take 1 day. So I got to fund the rest of the money anyway. But that was the first step. And I was obligated because I had a present. I'm like, now I'm fronting the money, whatever.
That's
so
great.
I paid for 2 days, take the class, have a blast. I mean, these guys that who eventually became my mentors, Jim Wilkie, who's a legend in the stunt driving world. Sorry, and Harry Wowchuck. And they're super, super fun guys. Teach me a couple stuff. I mean, you know nothing when you come out of the class. You just know what it feels like to lose control and gain control back of a car. You know, that's pretty much what you learn. You
It's a
learn
life
the
skill.
feeling.
Yeah,
no.
isn't it?
On a serious note, every single person should be mandatory.
Yeah.
A couple hours of skidding and sliding a car, feeling should be mandatory for anybody getting a driver's license.
So you don't panic.
So you don't panic and you don't lose your shit. And you know that the more you try to control it, the less you'll control it. Pretty much let it come back to straight.
God, that's a metaphor for life, is it not?
Damn.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes, absolutely. And that's with driving. It's you need to know a few things, but the biggest one, I guess, is like every time we would do a skid, if you let it go, it's just gonna come back straight.
Right.
But the more you try to push and it's just gonna go more and more and more out of control. Then you control that, but you know, for any driver in the world, any teenager should take a couple hours of stunt driving.
That's
should be
a good
mandatory.
idea.
That's great.
It's a
cool.
lifesaver. It saved my butt a couple times, to be honest with you. Just that feeling of knowing the feeling, so you don't panic and you just
Right.
get it back up, and then nothing happened.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful skill to have. And so took a couple days, sorry, and then on the third day they're like, oh, that's when we have the most fun. We introduction to drifting, and then we chase each other, and you're not coming back. I'm like, fuck. So credit card out, and I'm like, okay, I'm coming back for the third day. Had the time of my life, and then I went home and cried. I'm like, I can't let this go. I was like,
Isn't that the hardest feeling, right? When you have
Something's
that
over.
obstacle, and money is the hardest one. It really makes you
It's
want
been
to cry.
the main one for me.
It's the
Money.
It's the
So
main
many
one
things
for
I
every.
want to do. Yeah.
It's the main one for everybody.
And you can't because you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
What am I
Totally.
gonna do? And so I found a way. I found a loophole. I called those guys. I'm like, what is it? What is it gonna take for me to come back for very little? And then they were like, look, we'll make you a deal. If you want to come back to the class and help out.
Because you were
You
that
can
good.
do some
No,
Oh.
I was just
determined.
I get young, fun, and a girl, and I guess nice to be around when they're all like the dudes and they know each other. It's been years. It's nice to have a fresh face, and
Yeah.
they have a couple people, younger people, come in to help. And they were like, if you want to come and help out at the class, you get to train for a couple minutes for free. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nice.
So I did that for actually almost 4 years.
Wow.
Up at Willow Springs?
No, we were sorry.
It's okay.
We were in Camarillo
Oh, okay.
at the airport. It's Bobby Orr Motorsports.
Yeah.
And so I would go for 3 days every month, help out. I started being what we call the cone bitch. So when the students come and they knock off a cone, which they do every 5 seconds because they
You're
don't
putting
know.
the cones back up.
Set them back up.
You're running on the tarmac and you're putting it back up, whether it's hot, cold, or whatever. You're
Yeah.
out there and then you're picking up the cone, but that was a lot of fun because it's a very fun world, and it was a lot of dudes, and I
Right.
thrive. Women don't usually like me, so I like guys better.
I think women are very competitive with one another. That's what I've
That's
found.
that
anyway.
very catty.
Like,
I try to make a lot of girlfriends. I'm really trying to be really sweet, but it just doesn't work. They don't like me.
No, it's not just it's that way. My wife's same way. She probably would have
oh,
more.
we should be friends.
Exactly. They have more. She has more probably guy friends and relates to guys more than she does girls. Girls tend to compete sometimes more. That's generalizing. Not all girls are that way, but I've seen it. I've seen it in action. So
Right.
I agree
Right.
that's probably the case. So has that been the gig that's done the most for you?
Yes, that is the only thing that allowed me to get where I'm at today.
That's so cool.
In a way faster way than than if I had to pay for my trainings because, it gets really expensive.
Right.
So I would go for 3 days, and then once the students get to lunch, I got to take a car and then drive it around the course and do the same things over and over and over and over again for thousands of times. So at some point, you're like, I got this. I got this. And so I worked my way up to becoming an instructor over there. So when Jim didn't want to perform a stunt, he would just tell me, okay, go show them. And then pressure's on, because if you fuck up, and you do fuck up, it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
Even a month without
Repetition.
practicing, the first time you're going to do it, you might fuck up and just hit a cone. And so it's like, oh, now I got to show people. Okay. And, you're a woman, so they're like, the fuck are you? Get the fuck out of it. What? And guys, it's funny how women taking the class were so much better than guys.
Yeah.
Because the ego doesn't get in the way. The dudes were just trying to go too fast.
I already
and they
know
would
how to
spin
do
around.
this.
Yeah, I know how to drive. I'm a man. And so
Yeah.
they would go fast and just spin it around and be like, yeah. I'm like, that's not the point. Everybody can spin a car around. It's like, we're asking you to control it. And girls were like, oh, I do this.
Yeah.
On the mark, you're like, there you go. Because they listen
They do.
more. They're more, and the ego is just way
Critical,
less.
critical in their thinking a little bit
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Way more applied and way more studious. It's just easier to teach women, actually. It's very funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you did this. There's a long list here. Animal Kingdom. You did. This is all your stunt driving.
Yes.
You did. Where is it? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That was fun.
Yeah. No. So
was a
I
lot
didn't.
of
I haven't
fun.
watched that film yet. But what did that entail?
Nothing crazy. That one was just driving. So that's the thing. On sets, it's rare because I'm still at a baby level. It's rare when I have to do a big stunt. I do the big stuff. I think the biggest, most fun day, I would say, was my first job. Jim gave me my first job on a show called Fameless. It's a prank show with David Spade.
Okay.
David Spade created it, and so we pranked people. I was playing a bad driver who had a license revoked, and then I had to learn with them. And so they were doing a reality TV
Oh,
show.
gotcha.
Telling me, and they would shock me. I had bracelets, fake. I mean, crazy plot. They would shock me every time I would do something wrong on the course, right? And so there was a sound and a box under my seat, and every time she would hit that box, I would fake to be shocked, and then the thing's supposed to break down and get stuck into shocking mode, and I lose control of the car. And I get off the course with the people in the back with the cameras on. They freaked out, and I was driving like a lunatic in the middle of the desert. Then we get chased by the police, and then we stop. I mean, a whole crazy thing. I think that was the craziest thing that I've done on a set.
Got it.
Since then, we're doing little car chases and stuff. So it's a lot of. I haven't gotten yet to do the fun.
Right.
It's just pretty much driving,
Right.
but it takes professional people and people who are used to being on a set. Because believe it or not, it's very dangerous, and most people don't realize that. Even driving a car on a set is like super dangerous. There's a million people running around. Something can go wrong at any point in time, and that's why they need to bring people who've done it.
Yeah.
Right.
Before.
Of course.
So our listeners can understand how are you tied to if you're out doing driving? You're on set, but you're not anywhere near like the crew, right? Like how do you stay choreographed with stuff with cameras and?
Oh, so that's all with a stunt coordinator.
Okay.
So the main way I got in mainly was because I was at that class, professionals would come in and tune up, like the stunt coordinators would come and visit. It's a very small community and they all know each other. So they would come and visit. They would see you drive a couple times and more and more and more. And they're like, oh, maybe she's not that bad and she's consistent and maybe she can be trusted, and you make friends. And that's the only way they can get to trust you, to bring you on a set to begin with. And so I started doing precision driving. So it's pretty much just basic driving on sets, on big sets. And I got to learn so much because you have a radio, and you got.
Oh, that was my.
There's
that was the question that you were asking.
It's like, how do you know when to start? Like, because you've got.
So they give you a radio.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're on second unit, the action unit, or if you're on main unit, whatever, you have your own little channel on the. So the stunt coordinator or whoever's coordinating is on the channel, the stunt channel, or you're on channel 1 with production. Most of the time, you're not, especially on big movies like Once Upon a Time. We were actually on channel 1 that time, but it depends. You just switch.
Right.
And so the coordinator will tell you, he gets the info from the director. The director relates, okay, we need, the stunt's going to be this, or the action is that, and the main car is going to be doing this, and then the others are going to be doing that. So that's the action. And then the stunt coordinator, we have a meeting outside of the car first to make sure that everything is, everybody knows what they're doing. And then once you're inside the car, you have your radio. And so that's the part that's, to me, the most important, the communication.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what sometimes when problems happen, it's pretty much, you can bet it's because miscommunication.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody,
Right.
the first AD was not clear in the instructions, or the coordinator was like, you got cut, and then you didn't want to be that asshole, was like, can you repeat? Because there's a million people on the radio, and you don't want to be that loser who didn't hear.
Right.
So it's like paying attention to that little thing
Yeah.
is what saves, millions of dollars of a take, or
Right.
your ass
Yeah.
from never working
And
again.
do you feel like
Right.
with multiple cars, does it become like this rehearsed dance sort of?
Oh, yeah.
And-
Absolutely.
And you actually start to feel what the other driver's like too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I bet.
That's why
So
they
interesting.
hire
Yeah.
always the same people. I got to work recently on 911, the TV show. I was the only one. I was the baby driver out of all of them. Everybody were from Stunts Unlimited. Everybody was a fucking legend on
Yeah.
there. And when the stunt coordinator called me, he's like, okay, well, okay, we're doing a car chase. Are you coming in with everybody from Stunts Unlimited, huh? No pressure. I'm like, fuck. And so I got to set, and you got all these guys, and they
Right.
have 50 years experience behind
Yeah.
the wheel, and you're like, hey,
Noob.
what's up? So I knew some of them, and they were really welcoming, really nice, and they would talk to you for days
Yeah.
about their stories,
Right.
stunt stories and shit that went wrong, and anecdotes, and it's just the most interesting people in the world. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. But then comes time to work, and you see why
Right.
they're doing what they're doing. They all know each other. They all know that they kind of react with one another. They,
Yeah.
and that you time yourself with the person in front of you. You got to know there's a lot of things to know, and stupid things that people don't think about. But you're back to one mark.
Right.
We were on a freeway with a helicopter and like millions of cars. There were a ton of extras, and we're all set in a certain pattern.
Right.
And if you don't remember where you were, if you don't, like, there's a tree, and then there's a mark on the street, and there whatever, and then
Yeah.
the car, how many car length you are from the car in front of you and to the side. When it's time to go back to one, you're that asshole who's going to be like going way back, and then what are you doing? Where are you going? So you need to, and
Pay attention.
yeah,
Right?
and the guy in front of you is going to go at a certain speed, but then the car that's chasing the other one, you need to keep a certain distance from
Right.
that car. It's not going to be told to you sometimes. Sometimes they're going to tell you, I want that many car length, but you need to adjust in a split of a second, because you got a car coming
Yeah.
90 miles per hour coming in between you, and it's going to come this close to your car.
Yeah.
God.
If you decide that, oh, well, there's not enough room between me and the guy in front of me for him to pass, you're just going to have to, without braking, because, there's cameras and stuff, you don't want to brake, you use your
Right.
brake lights, and you're on the freeway, you're not supposed to brake.
Holy crap.
Just make it, so
Yeah,
you
no,
just pull back just a tad, and it's in a split of a second that you decide that there's not enough room or too much. So you adjust, and you make an executive decision
Yeah.
on the spot. Sometimes it doesn't fly, and they're like, I told you to stay where you were. And sometimes you're like, ooh, I saved it.
Right.
Because then, you didn't have enough room. So it's a lot of fucking stress.
Yeah.
It
It's very
sounds
s-
like
I
I'm
have
getting
s-
stressed hearing you say it.
People don't.
Because
So I'm like, can I just act?
Yeah.
Is that cool with you? But no, it's. I have much more fun training, obviously, because there's no pressure on the set. You want to do a good job, and especially when you're new in the business and you're working with
Yeah.
legends
Yeah.
who do break rules, and they make U-turns when they're not supposed to, because you were talking about formation.
Yeah.
You usually adapt and adjust to the other drivers
Right.
and whatever. Sometimes the coordinator is going to tell you, I want you all to go back to one backing up. Oh, that's another thing. You got to back up straight.
Right.
And that's something that you learn, and if you haven't learned it, you're
Yeah.
fucked.
Right.
Because be that guy who's like, no. When you're like 5 cars
Yeah.
next to one another,
Yeah.
each on one lane, and you can't back up, you're screwed. You will never work again. So
Right.
the backing up, I train every time I get the chance on the street, anywhere, I train to stop on my mark. Like when there's I get into a parking space, and I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get right at the end. And so I, boop, and then I get out. I'm like, yeah. People are like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, don't worry.
Overachiever.
Just training. But yeah, get on your marks
Yeah.
and then back up. Every time I get a chance to back up, you don't use, that was the first thing that Jim told me. He's like, you don't use your mirror in the middle because you never know the car they're going to give you on set. Sometimes there's going to be a shit load of stuff in the back.
Right.
And you're not going to have that
Not be
mirror.
able to see.
So you
Yeah.
use one of the two.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you get that mark and then you follow that mark.
Right.
But it's, hard when you haven't done it, and backing up straight and then doing a slalom. It's like all these little things that are not stunt related. They're just good driving
Driving
and
101.
precision driving need to be mastered.
Right.
And just to get around on the set, not even to do a stunt. Forget the stunt. It's all to get around on a set and back up and not kill anyone or make a fool of yourself.
Yeah. What's I'd say recently, but now I'm not sure how recent, but your last commercial you did for a motorcycle?
Geico?
I did.
Geico?
No, actually, I did Panasonic.
Oh, okay.
Geico was a long time ago.
Okay.
Then I did Allstate with the
I think it was
Harley.
Allstate because you were driving through Canyon, right?
No, that was Panasonic.
Oh, Panasonic.
Yeah,
What a commercial.
that was beautiful, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Sexy
was,
bike. I mean, it was just
That's
like,
my baby.
What?
That's my baby.
Who's that?
Bruce.
Bruce? Is that
Her
your
bike
Is that your
has a
bike?
name.
That's my baby. It's Bruce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, for Bruce Wayne, obviously.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
He's tall, he's black, he's strong, he's Batman.
Right.
Gotcha.
So I named him Bruce.
Nice.
And he protects me. I feel like I'm naming all my vehicles because I feel like once you give them a soul, they protect you.
So how did you get into the
that's cool.
motorcycle aspect of it?
Just by being stupid. I was like, oh, where can
This
I...
is headed directly where we want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where can I get high or can I get off without actually having sex? Because
Yeah.
I can't have sex all day long and I have to find other ways to, you
Sure.
know,
Absolutely.
have fun.
Yeah.
And so that was one. And so I
Right,
got into it. I
motorcycle.
started way smaller, obviously, because now Bruce is a 750 Gixxer Suzuki.
Okay.
But I started on the 250 Ninja.
Yeah.
Which was great for me because I'm 5'3", so it was the good size. But then after that, I got a little. I'm like, well, I need a little more. So I went to Bruce. But yeah, I think I started writing probably 10 years ago or something.
Okay.
Was it instant? You were like, oh, this is amazing.
I had been wanting to for a while, but never actually gone through the process. And I don't remember what the was, to be honest. I don't know. One day I was like, I'm just gonna go and take the class, and I think it was in Long Beach or whatever. They have a 3-day course, which I fell on my face.
Did you really?
Awesome, yeah. I fell on my face because they're dumbasses. That was, I think, the most dangerous ever advice that I got. I was always told, and the little bit of writing that I did in France with friends, it was not, I didn't learn actually, but I was told never to use all your fingers, you know, to break and everything, just 2 and 2. And when I was doing that class, they were like, well, to pass the test with the DMV,
They want all
you
four.
need all 4
Yeah.
and all. Both of you, so you're breaking and
Yep.
shifting,
yeah.
all 4s at the same time. And I'm like, that's too much. And I wasn't used to it, obviously, so I did it, and it was an emergency braking, and I did this. I'm like,
Oh, man.
great, thanks,
Yeah.
bruh. But so that was cool. I learned never to do that again. So thanks for the class.
Yeah.
But then I took the class and then got a motorcycle. I don't commute. I just do it for fun. But mainly I like to go to the track to Willow Springs.
Yeah. That's up by my house.
Yeah,
Our
that's where we
house.
live.
Jeez.
Yeah, we live.
Oh, yeah?
We live up
Yeah.
there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll come crash there
There you
because
go.
I'm there a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, I like to go to the track to, you know, learn about the bike. You learn about yourself, your limits.
Right.
That's a much safer way to. I mean, not when you break your wrist.
Sure.
I'm officially bionic now
Wow.
because of
Hey.
Will Express. Yeah, that was not fun.
Yeah, I broke my hand riding a motorcycle. You can
You
see
did
that
too?
right there. Yeah.
What do you write? Oh shit.
Yeah, it's still in there.
Mine
I
is
gotta get it
prettier.
out. Yeah, they did a great job. Well, you probably did the therapy and all that, maybe.
I was good. I was good.
I
with it.
wasn't. I played tennis. That didn't help. I also played the drums. That didn't help either. But yeah, they want you to go to therapy and they rub all this. They rub it out so the scar tissue doesn't build up like that. But yeah, it's pretty nasty. But yeah, someone turned left in front of me while I was riding
On the street, shit.
on the
See,
street, texting. Yeah, and it was like 11 o'clock at night.
the
I only
stuff
had
you
my
see.
license for a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
Had a beautiful, beautiful Harley V-Rod muscle, and it was totaled. Yeah. I bought a bike again, and then I've sold it since. I don't ride as much as I used to, but yeah, that was. I had to get back on because
if you don't, you never will.
Right, I knew that if I didn't, I would never buy a bike again. So I quickly got another one.
Yeah.
I quickly got another one, and before I even got released actually to go back to work and everything, me and my dad rode to Laughlin and did a little bit of a ride just to get myself on a bike again.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
have
that's
to.
scary. It's no fun. That's no fun.
You have
That's
to.
no fun.
I have
no
the-
fun when it's another person turning left in front
That's
of you.
not-
I wouldn't even know.
That's the most
flash.
dangerous.
The flash that happens is.
It's
life.
amazing. Well, it's
Yeah.
amazing how much you think in
Yeah.
that tiny space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember thinking in slow motion, like, is this guy really turning?
Are you serious right now?
Is this really happening right now?
Are you fucking shitting me? Yeah.
But it was a split second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a split second, but it was like, no way, this
So
is
many
happening.
things happen.
And not even enough time to break.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just crazy.
Oh,
That's
whatever you do, most of the time is you can't save it. You're on two wheels.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing.
Right.
They don't stop.
Jackie
as
told me
fast.
before we got married, because I had a bike, and we used to go. I don't know, like on 250th Street
Yep.
East, take a nice ride out
Yeah.
into the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we started talking about making a family, starting a family. She, as a young woman, went through some trauma regarding a motorcycle and
Yeah.
boyfriends and stuff. And so she said, look, I'm not going to bury you with
Right.
children.
I know.
That's it.
I know.
Get rid of the bike.
Yep. I
And I
know.
was like, okay.
Yeah, you
I
have
did.
to.
I was-
You have to.
Had no problem. I really did. And I was like, okay, I can totally respect that. Now I'm looking at these big cruising
Oh, they're
comfy
sweet. The
couches, and I'm
cruisers,
like,
yeah, the cruisers are nice.
man, I
See,
think
I'm not into that at all.
I could tell. The folks who ride the crotch rockets, as they call them,
I call them Zoom splats.
right, Zoom splats, right? And the folks who ride the cruisers, they're a different breed of rider.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
they-
I don't like the attitude of the sports rider. I like the cruisers better. The
Yeah,
attitude is
they're more
laid
laid
back and
back.
stuff.
Yeah, they're not
But the
trying to-
actual riding doesn't.
Not as fun, not as
I
agile.
But the
I
fix.
had a Harley for a week, a 1200 Sportster.
a week, 1200.
Yeah. No, because I was shooting a commercial,
Oh, okay,
and so
I
I
gotcha.
wanted to.
Learn it.
Yeah, because I went to the audition with mine, but they were like, "Oh, can you ride?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Of course.
Sure. My feet are on the ground, at least. That's the one thing that there is good about a Harley. So,
Oh, right.
But I wanted to get used to it and get comfortable on it, and so I rented that.
Yeah.
It was just
Well, they're not off. They're not going to go that fast.
no, and I
And
don't.
the cornering is like I got a Victory Judge, which was a nice bike. It was fast, but I mean cornering. It was the pegs were dragging, shit like that. Which
And it scared me a couple times. Like, gee,
Oh,
no,
it-
why?
it'll.
I'm not even.
Yeah.
It's too much. I don't like. I felt very vulnerable,
Mm.
and it's a weird thing for me because the reason I like Bruce so much
Mm-hmm.
is because I'm hugging him when I'm riding. I'm like, oh,
Security.
we make one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm close to. I'm not close to the ground, but I'm closer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not all exposed like this. And when I was riding the 1200, I was like. First of all, it was too big for me. I could barely touch the pedals.
Yeah.
I'm too tiny. I'm 5'3", and this whole thing. I look like an idiot, and I didn't feel safe. Everything was exposed. I just didn't like the way it was feeling.
The way it moves, even in corners.
And it was my calves were burning. It burned my boots
Yeah.
because it's so hot
pipes
and
are
so
hot, yeah.
heavy. I'm like, "Bleh." Getting it off it's lower than mine, and yet getting it off the stand was a fucking work. I'm like, too much. Just not.
Right.
I like Bruce better. And then I got on Bruce. I'm like, see, that's much
There
better.
you are.
Well, you lean on Bruce and it goes where you want it to.
Yes.
You have to do a little more work with those cruisers to get them
You
to turn.
do.
It's just the way that they are.
Yeah.
So back to this. What now of the three that we've discussed: acting, producing, stunt driving. Which excites you more, and how kind of are they merged together?
So, funny that you mention that because everybody in each industry is trying to get me to give up the other ones, right?
Oh, interesting.
Just because, they all say, jack of all trades, master of none.
I've heard that.
Specialty shit.
I've heard that of myself.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, cool. I never claimed to be a specialist or a pro at anything. But to me, these three, first of all, I'm not giving it up, so fuck that. None of it, because I need every single one of them complement the other to me. The acting works with the producing, or at least the producing works with the acting. I'm giving myself parts, so that's great. The stunt driving, I am super freaking grateful for all the opportunities that I have had to be on sets that I would have never been able to be, whether it be acting or even producing, or at least not for the next 10 years maybe, because you don't get to the studio level. Bright was $100 million. Once upon a time, sets like these, you don't get to be on. And even when you're acting, even at a certain level, most of the time it's second unit, so you don't even get there. You have a stunt double, the actor is not there, and he doesn't see the action, they don't get to set, you don't see all the fun, and you don't have a radio when you're acting. You don't hear the shit that's happening.
So
The
you're
director
seeing it
talking
from a whole other place that
The-
you would not normally get to see.
And believe it or not, stunts are working with my producing. Because I get to be behind the scenes, and I'm not that kind of person who's just going to sit back, relax, and drink coffee on set. I'm talking to everybody. I'm asking a shitload of questions. I'm so curious and going to the DP and be like, so what's the... I'm trying to know about every single aspect. And I'm seeing productions and how sometimes they fuck up. I'm like, I wouldn't have done that. Little things. Like we started, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours late on 911. That was hundreds of thousands of dollars just because one piece of information had to go all the way up, and it took them forever to get a hold of whoever was in charge. And so we're all like sitting there waiting, and money just going out the window. So they have it, it's fine. But as a producer, I was like, oh my God, I would kill somebody right now. But I'm learning the chain of command, where on bigger sets, what things, who does what and why is there, that person doesn't want to help that person because it's not their responsibility, because there's a reason for everything. And so I'm learning, I'm getting wiser, and I'm understanding more. And the fact that I have a radio, I'm listening in to conversation. I'm switching. Don't tell anyone or everyone. I'm switching.
Everyone just signed an NDA. Just now, you just did, whether you know it or not.
They're like, okay, you're on 12 for like stunt channel. Cool. I'm going on 1 because I want to listen to the shit, and I might be missing out on stuff that's happening on 12. But when I know it's quiet for a second, I go back. I'm like listening to Tarantino, whoever is talking to somebody. I'm not going to miss out on that. I just want to listen in. So and then the first ADs and the way they talk, and sometimes they don't press the button all the way. So fun fact.
Yes.
My name is Cecile for everybody around. Cecile. It's not Cecil. Cecily, Cecil, Cece, Sil. I got called everything under the moon on set. They don't know how to spell it. They don't know how to tell it. So I am always confused. Most of the time, and sometimes people don't know how to, when they're using the little thingy, they don't press it all the way when they start talking. So you only get the last half of the word.
Seal.
And sometimes, sometimes I hear, oh, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I guess it's for me. I'm like, copy that. No fucking idea. It's so confusing and so stressful because I don't know if they're talking to me or not. And sometimes like, Leah, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, that was supposed to be Cecilia, which is another one of my nicknames. But the Leah has nothing to do with my name. But I got to guess. Take a wild guess.
That's hilarious.
So that's another challenging part of being on a set with a radio with a foreign name. It just doesn't go well most of the time.
It's not that hard. I mean, it's pretty easy to. I mean, I saw it in Cecile. You could see it's Cecile, but I get it. People
Cecil a lot. I get Cecil a lot.
Cecil.
Although I'm not a dude, I get Cecil a lot.
Cecil.
Well,
All right.
I'm fine with Cecilia. That's no problem. I'm Spanish. I was supposed to be named that anyway, so that's fine. But the rest makes me cringe.
That's hilarious.
But I gotta respond to it. Oh yeah, I gotta respond to it every time. But it's difficult. Sometimes I don't know if they're talking to me or somebody else. So.
Right. Yeah. So one of the questions I like to ask, in filmmaking and in anything really, I would say even in stunt driving, just hearing the process that you went through, 4 years of doing it and actually assisting and all this stuff. the question is this: what is your why? What keeps you inspired to do this, to be in film and make film and be a creative person?
I can't have it any other way. That's the only. I don't know how it would be. I don't see myself doing anything else.
Right.
I've been wanting to make movies, and not just for the fuck of making movies. I got a lot of things to say.
Yeah.
I have a lot of.
I love that.
Yeah.
My. There's a lot of. I don't know if I'm an alien. I am actually an alien in this country, but for real alien. I seem to see things differently than other people, and sometimes I just want to shed some light on things that maybe I might be weird about, but I want to explain that. But the best way to explain to me has always been through the arts, because it just gives people a different perspective, and they see it through. I don't know. Make people feel things and explaining.
Yeah, your
through,
expression.
Yeah,
right.
And I've always wanted to do that because of a fucked up childhood and a lot of things that happened. I'm like, I think people should know about this because it's like a cool feeling to have, or it's not so cool, but they should understand it so they can learn how to deal with that person who's a little off.
What a light. You know what I mean? What a
Yeah.
light in a very dark time that we're in with a lot of division is to think about helping somebody understand something
Yeah.
instead of
Right.
going, well, you don't fucking know a thing. Just you sit down and shut up over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's why
You
art
know,
is.
it's incredible.
That's why art is so beautiful. It is a way in, right? So many of us don't really touch those deeper parts,
Right.
and some of us walk around wounded, and art is a way into that. Maybe a movie lets you see a part of yourself that you've maybe been ignoring, or
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
And art in all functions, including music and everything, even stand-up comedy, like we
Yeah.
mentioned with Jonesy. Art is a way in. So
Absolutely.
I
It's
get
therapeutic.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. it
And
is.
sometimes you might watch a movie and you'll cry when he's brushing his teeth.
Yeah.
You're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. It's because they did it. Well, the music helps a lot, obviously.
it
but
does.
there is so many ways in filmmaking to just make you feel something, and just brushing teeth might seem just not so special. And then after all, you're thinking about a lot of stuff when you're brushing your teeth, and that person, you're getting right into their brain, and it makes you cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
beautiful.
fuck yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But not the crying. I'm more into comedy. I like to tell stories with a lighter heart. And the message that I want to give eventually, and the reason why I want to make movies so much, is because I want to make you laugh. The world is complicated, it's difficult. It's easy to make people cry. It's like
Yeah.
you tell a sad story and everyone's like, boo-hoo. But it's hard to make people laugh and make them happy. And that's the ultimate goal for me.
Yeah.
To make, even if I'm going to say something heavy and try to make people understand a certain kind of feeling that they haven't even thought about.
Yeah.
Because they haven't experienced it.
Right.
You know, when there's something that pisses me off, not in a bad way, but it irritates me, is when somebody goes through a trauma and then you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And then you try to relate, and then they tell you, oh, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You went through worse, and here I am crying. I'm like, bro, no. You can't compare your trauma the first time you're experiencing it with somebody else's pain. That seems on paper worse, but somebody losing a parent as opposed to somebody losing a dog, the feeling might be greater even because you've never experienced something like this. You can't put a level up on the pain. You can't level that. And I hate when people try to compare their pain with somebody else or diminish it. It makes me sad because I'm like, no, you're feeling it 300% right now, and you should be allowed to feel it.
Cecile,
Cecil.
Keckle.
Cecil.
Cecil.
Keckle.
Fuck.
I like that.
I feel exactly that exact same way. Having gone through my health issues,
Yeah.
and when people, I've had that exact conversation, and I've had that exact reaction. I'm like, no. This is a relative thing that you're going through. This is very traumatic for you, and should not be compared to what I've gone through. Now, my journey was very difficult. I mean, really, really hard for me.
I bet.
But I showed up every day and I did it just like what you're doing. If you want to compare bananas to fucking coconuts, you're showing up and doing it too.
Yeah.
So you're your own hero in your own movie.
Yeah.
And this is the one thing that's really in the last few years come to like be a simmering fuel for me, is being the star of your own movie. right? I admire the fuck out of you, and that you want to create and tell people more.
Well, thank you.
I think that's cool. I think that's cool as
yeah.
shit.
Absolutely.
And I admire you too, by the way. You know that. He's a fucking badass.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, it's to me that's important. I just have a lot of things to say, and it's harder to say them or have people relate to something that you're saying. It just doesn't mean anything. But when you're putting it on
You're painting a picture of it.
painting a picture, they're like, oh, now I can.
Yeah.
I see it.
That's why I
just
say
much easier.
it's a way in. Sometimes it's a way. It's just a beautiful way in. It's a beautiful way to penetrate a little bit deeper,
Yeah.
into the hearts and minds of people.
And when you watch somebody watch your stuff, I think that's the best feeling.
Yeah.
Because you get straight feedback, and most people can fake something, but when they're watching a movie, they can't really. They don't know they're being watched, so
Right.
there's no filter.
Right.
Even though we're in LA and there's always a filter.
Right.
I mean, not with me. That's why I don't have any friends. They call me the RBF for a reason. My face is really loud, too loud. But when you're watching people watch your stuff,
Yeah.
they don't expect for you to be watching. So
Yeah.
they're like, their face says a lot, and it's beautiful. Sometimes they don't like it, and that's cool. And when they like it, when you see them tear up, like for instance, I watched my boyfriend watch because we're shooting another film right now with Jordan that Jordan wrote. It's about drag queens.
Okay.
Fantastic world, and we're trying to shed some light on, what happens behind the scenes.
Sure,
absolutely.
And, the stuff that you don't see because they're full of, the makeup and the dresses and all that, and it's a spectacle. But then there's a lot of shit happening behind the
Right.
scenes, and we
Right.
want to shed some light on that because it's a very, very fascinating world. And so we started as a short, and now it became a feature. The short has Peter and then Michelle Visage in it. And so we shot that, and it's funny because that's what Jordan writes, but it's still deep.
Yeah.
And we were trying to capture some sort of emotion, and we got a fantastic actress. She's now a consulting producer because we know it's three straight women making a movie about drag queens, and we needed some help as far as because even though we're passionate about that world, we wanted somebody who's in that world to be able to just
Right. Of
relate,
course. That makes
because
total
we don't want to
sense.
say stuff that
Yeah.
are not relevant.
Absolutely.
Just as an audience. So we got Kelly Mental, her name is. Fantastic actress and a drag queen, but she's been acting in so many things, and she's so talented. And she brings you on to. She went on stage, and Jordan wrote something, but then she told Kelly, because Jordan is directing this one. She wrote it, and her directorial debut. So
Awesome. How cool.
Way to go, Jordan.
so proud. Yes, go Jordan. And so Jordan told her, "That's your moment. Just be yourself and tell us what you want to tell us. What's on the page is just a base, but." Be you. Just do you.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Everybody cried, obviously.
Yeah.
And so, but that was on set. It was, everything was high. And then
Yeah.
Vicky Vox was on set. She was making everybody laugh. And so much. Shooting with drag queens has been a fucking blast. They're amazing on
only
set.
imagine.
You've never been on a set that high.
Right.
Everybody is like, woo!
High
It's crazy.
energy,
yeah,
yeah.
it's amazing. But so watching my boyfriend I showed him that little vignette because we're not done shooting everything, but I wanted to see if it,
If it had an
resonated with a
impact.
straight dude, and what do you think? And so I showed him that little section. We put some music on it, and then he was watching, and then I see. I'm like, yes,
Did it.
that's it, and that to me, when I get through you're a straight dude, and you're watching a drag queen have a breakdown, and you cry.
Yeah. Job
That's awesome.
Accomplished.
Job done.
I was watching yesterday. I was watching the breaking and exiting trailer. I don't know why. I just came across it, and I was watching it, and I was getting emotional. Watching the trailer, I reached out to Sasha. I'm like, Sasha, did you do the music on this? He said, no, he didn't do the music for the trailer. But still, it was the beautiful piano part, and it was just, I was like, oh my God. This is... Because of course,
I'm so glad.
Of course, I've seen the film,
I'm so
but I was like,
glad.
oh, what a great, it's
The
left an
trailer's
impression.
nice,
It's a
right?
great trailer.
The
yeah.
guy did a great job. We got a guy named Gordon Leroy, I believe his last name is, and he did a really good job.
Yeah.
And the music is great too.
Yeah.
I just wanted. There's a couple moments. I should have talked to you about that. There's a couple moments I wanted to just hype the sound a little bit to get
Yeah.
it a little more poignant, but
I
I didn't get my way.
It was good. It was good. So we end the podcast here with some fun questions.
Ooh.
So we're going to start asking them now.
Okay.
First one is this. If you could buy any type of food right now, what would you buy?
Completely blanking.
Would you go to get a taco? Would you get a pizza? Would you get a hero? They call them heroes. Is that
Gyro.
Greek? Gyro.
I would.
Gyro.
Man.
I prefer hero. I think it's better.
I don't know. I would get fries.
Ooh,
Nice.
fries.
So
Yeah, that's a good one.
So uninteresting.
With ketchup or ranch?
Or mustard.
Mayo.
Hey, all right.
European way.
Nice.
All right. See, you answered. That was good.
There you go.
What color is your toothbrush?
At the moment, it's green.
Do you know what your color your toothbrush? I don't even know.
Lime green.
Yeah, same. We might have the same. It's lime green, actually.
I have an affinity for lime green because that is the color of my cancer ribbon.
Oh, cool.
So that's why I do
Okay.
anything I do, and I can do
lime
lime
green.
green.
See, that
It's
is
like
so cool.
I just always gravitate towards that.
It's also the color of hope, right?
Yep.
Lime green. I did not know that. I think mine's like baby blue or something like that.
It's
I change it up.
You're that kind. I can totally see it.
Change it up. I get
Baby blue.
I'll get a purple one. I'll get a green one. I get the ones you can recycle.
Yeah.
That's the ones I get.
Yeah.
From Trader Joe's. I get those ones. Okay.
That's
If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
I would be Black Panther.
A Black Panther.
Yes. Why? No need to
Because
explain.
they're just
Look at them.
badass.
Fuck that. It's like
Piercing yellow
probably the
eyes.
most beautiful animal there is.
Really?
So graceful and yet so badass and so.
Yeah.
Have you seen the I don't know if it's an actual pit bull, but have you seen the pit bulls that look like Black Panthers?
No.
No.
You have to look it up.
Okay.
They look scary.
Really?
They're crazy looking dogs.
Ew.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I'll show you. After
Okay.
we do this. They're awesome.
Okay.
Looking. Next one. What is one of the things you would put on your bucket list?
I have many of them on there.
Have you hit some of the things on your bucket list?
Yeah. I have, but there's a
Yeah,
lot
if
of
any of
traveling
us
that I've
haven't,
done.
man, you're not working hard enough.
Right.
Yeah. There's
point.
a lot of traveling stuff that I haven't gotten to do yet because I need money. But money's coming, so I'll get to do that. I guess, those new things I want to fly. I've always wanted to fly. So jumping off a plane is going to be coming soon. I just need to go. It's not really a bucket list thing. It'll happen soon. But I want to do one of those suits.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I want to do one of those. I'm not
Those-
going to go between rocks. I'm not that crazy.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
those people
But
are nuts.
it's just, you want to die?
They call them
Just
a
fly.
squirrel suit, right?
Yeah,
So they
yeah,
call it a
those.
flying
So I
squirrel
want
suit.
to do one of those. It's I think that's
You got to get video of it. You have to.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Have to get
it's
video of
part
it.
of your
package.
package. Yeah,
Good.
it's like on your forehead or some shit.
And they-
No, but then you got to get somebody else to film you.
Yeah.
Having that face on the yeah with the yeah, you
right,
got
right.
it. Yeah.
Those have a parachute on them too, right? Because eventually you're going to, go near the ground.
The fun part is I haven't even looked it up. I just want to fly. However I come down,
yeah.
I guess it's figured out somewhere. I'll
That-
come down eventually.
So speaking of flying, who is your favorite superhero and why?
Oh, tricky questions. I wish I would have had a list so I could prepare.
Sorry.
Well,
this
my
is on
favorite-
purpose.
They are not supposed to be.
My favorite superhero.
These are they're well, they call them rapid fire, which you're supposed to just go
Yeah.
around. But we make them more fun so we can have
I'm
conversation.
not rapid.
One
One thing I'm not is like
nobody has been.
Yeah, not one.
so
Oh, good.
far.
Okay. Yeah, if they probably have a PR team behind them. I don't. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Favorite one would be, I don't know if he's a superhero. No, I shouldn't say that.
I don't. Okay.
The Punisher.
Well, yeah, no, he's in a.
But that's not a superhero and with a
No.
good. No, that's not.
Have you watched The Punisher on Netflix? Have you watched it?
Yes.
You're a fan?
I am.
I got up to the second to last first season episode when he squeezed the guy's eyes out, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm done with this. I was
That
like,
was
it's just so violent.
It is.
I can't digest too
It
much
is.
of the violence.
No, I'm a big fan of John Bernthal.
He's great.
That's my and my baby producer mine. I won this guy in my movie. at some point.
Oh, cool.
One way or
He's
another,
great.
I'm gonna be able to afford him and have a script good enough to.
Nice.
He's just fantastic.
He was in that new movie on Netflix too with
He's in everything.
Jamie Lannister. I don't know how to say his name, but he played Jamie Lannister in Game of Thrones.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, you don't watch any film.
you did?
You're the wrong person to talk to.
Well, when you want me to go start naming movies that they're in.
No, but I mean, because you told me that you don't watch because you spend so much time around filming, you need a break from it, which I totally get.
Get that? I get that.
Yeah.
No, I would say somebody would know superpowers. Those are the actual
Just a regular.
Yeah, so I would
human.
say Batman would.
yeah.
Yeah. The ones who make what they have a superpower
Iron
instead
Man.
of just being born with it, because
Right.
that's too fucking easy.
Yeah.
They're cool, but Superman flies. Good for you, bro.
Right.
If I could, I would be a superhero too.
Right.
You know?
Superman's invincible. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the last one. Let's see. If you could be any flavor of ice cream, what ice cream flavor would you be and why?
Hold on.
What?
I'm enjoying this moment.
You are?
Yeah, go.
Squirming a little bit. I don't know.
I would be chocolate.
Okay.
Nice.
Chocolate.
Why?
Yeah.
Because vanilla.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of plain. Yeah.
Vanilla. I'm not vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not strawberry either. I'm not the pistachio weird ones. No, I'm chocolate.
Chocolate,
The
all
one
right.
that everyone wants. It's powerful. It could be stronger if you wanted it to be
Yeah, yeah.
stronger, depending
Oh,
on how
interesting.
much
Well, yeah.
cacao you put in there. Different levels of chocolate. I like that.
Yeah, and you can mix it with the other ones and make those better. Like you could mix the chocolate with
And
the
it
vanilla.
goes really well with mint, and you can do chocolate mint, and you can just not even mix, but just merge.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
it.
super cool. Chocolate's cool.
What about you, man? What would you be?
Oh boy, I probably would be
Vanilla.
Yeah,
You look
vanilla.
You look like you like vanilla. I don't. You
Ice
know.
cream. I don't know.
See,
I'd
I'm
probably.
glad he's blanking too.
I would. Well, I have two bouncing around like the potentials. I like the pralines and cream.
See, now he went weird.
Complicated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he went
yeah,
weird.
yeah.
I've never even had that.
Oh, really?
Pralines?
Yeah.
What's praline? What is a praline?
I think it's caramel.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I call it praline. I don't know how you. I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's like a caramel, I guess. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out. So me, I know what I would be. Simple. First of all, I don't ever want to be an ice cream.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
'Cause-
don't. You don't get to choose, homie.
Yeah. Right.
You're gonna be ice cream right now.
Gonna
Who
melt.
wrote those? Who
Internet.
came up with those?
Internet copy paste.
Tell internet nobody wants to be an ice cream.
I would be mint and chip though. It's my favorite, man. Oh, I
see?
love mint and chip. But the like there's the green one with the chocolate. I like the white kind of vanilla, but mint and
Yeah.
chip. That's me. That's
Mint
what I
chip.
want to be.
Well, my favorite is coffee.
Oh,
but
okay.
I wouldn't want to be coffee because not a lot of people like coffee.
Not a lot of people.
And when you don't have many friends, you want to make friends.
That's right.
I want to be chocolate.
So if you're chocolate, you're gonna make a lot of
I
friends.
want to be chocolate.
You're gonna be chocolate ice cream. Friends are
I
coming
want to
your
be
way.
the coffee that everyone leaves on the, behind. No, I want to be chocolate.
Well, this has been incredibly fun.
Thank you for having me, you
thank
guys.
you,
Thank you
Cecile.
for
I feel
being
very
on.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cecile, it's been a pleasure meeting you. The first time I met you, and
You too.
loved your stories. And
Thank you.
we'll have to have you back on.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah.
forward to getting to know you better.
Yeah.
I know you, but I
Yeah.
don't know you. So.
It's true. Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh, you got just plenty of podcasts out there. I'm on all over the damn place on podcasts.
Good.
So.
I'll do my homework.
All right, and I'm going to show you that right after this. I'm going to show you that panther-looking pit bull. Don't let me forget to show
Yes.
you. Gorgeous,
I
gorgeous
will.
looking.
I would love to get one of those. Maybe he's gonna eat my cat, so I'll wait until the cats are gone.
Maybe, might. You
Yeah.
look at this
Maybe
dog
some
and you're like,
competition.
oh boy.
Yeah.
So,
Right on.
well, thank you for being on
Thank you
Unscripted
so
Narrative.
much, you
Thanks,
guys.
Cecile.
Okay, bye.